Hi everyone, I'm Pastor Suzy Aja Burba. I'm the youth minister at First Congregational Church of Braintree, and I bring you this week's edition of Food for the Soul. As is my custom, I like to come from a different location each time, and today I'm at World's End Park in Hingham. A few things about the park: it is maintained by the trustees of reservations. So you can get in if you have a membership of the trustees, it's included in your membership, and otherwise there is a fee. These days they do have a situation where you make reservations to come. So you make your reservations online, make the payment if need be, and then come on down. I actually didn't make my reservations till last night, so there was plenty of availability for me to come here this morning. A few other things about the park: it is, 251 acres with 4.5 miles of walking paths and trails. This is a part of the Boston Harbor Islands National Park. Growing up in the area, not in Hingham, but nearby, I actually didn't know that. The national park, like Great Esker Park, where we were a few weeks ago, it was formed by a retreating glacier. And this park was at risk for a number of times for being converted to, wait for the plane, sorry, okay. The park was at risk for being converted to residential or commercial use. So back in 1890, there were plans to put a housing development out here. That fell through, thankfully. Moving ahead a bit, in 1945, this property was actually considered for the headquarters of the United Nations. That ended up moving to New York City, which I think is a very appropriate location for it, given its importance. And then things start to turn around in 1965. It was considered as a site for a nuclear power plant. And at that time, people from the trustees and residents of Hull, Hingham, and surrounding communities did a lot of work and fundraising to combat that move, and they were successful, and it was then secured as a property for the trustees. And so here we have it. That was in '67 that it got secured to stay a park. So a couple great things about this place are the views. That's one thing that people love, and for me, I also love the birds. There's a lot of good birds to see here. So why don't we take a little walk and get a look around? Let's go. All right, I'm showing you this view because we have out there Hull Wind 2, and the 2 will make sense soon. And also I'm spanning across. Here we have Hull Bay in the foreground and Nantasket Beach in the background. Right now I come to you on a little stretch of path simply called the Bar. And here we're looking out over Hingham Bay, and there's Hingham Harbor. Going further, up there is Planters Hill. That's where I just came down. Going further over here is a section of Hull Bay with Hull Wind 2 in the background. And so there you have it. We will now, sorry about the shake, now be headed up this way. Hey folks, I had mentioned views, and here we have a view of the Boston skyline. Sorry about the shaking. And if we just pan over a little bit, there is back there in the background Hull Wind 1. I found a nice little spot here to sit and take a break in the shade, and there's a nice breeze which feels really good after walking around. And while I'm here, a little bit later, I'm going to go to one of the salt marsh areas or mudflats and look for an American oyster catcher, which is a bird that I've yet to see and people have reported to see here. And speaking of birds, I can't help but think about in Matthew chapter 5, where it mentions the birds of the air and the lilies of the field. So I'm going to read for you verses 25 through 31. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father cares for them. Are you not more valuable than they? Can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your span of life? And why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? Therefore, do not worry, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? One thing about this passage is it's not saying that it's okay to be careless and to throw caution to the wind. You know, God gave us these beautiful minds to use to help us make decisions that are healthy, things that are loving of neighbor, things that are wise. And so this passage is really about anxiety and worry. It's really easy to get sucked into a whirlpool of anxiety. It can be from things in your personal life, relationships, family, work, or it can be from things in society as a whole. And regarding anxiety, I do want to acknowledge that some people have an extra strong struggle with anxiety, those who have anxiety disorders. And I just want to send you a word of encouragement that there is a way through, there is a path. I encourage you to talk to, listen, and learn from others who have experienced the same things. And also, it takes some courage, but to try some new techniques for managing anxiety and worry. And for everyone, whether anxiety is a disorder for you or just the natural anxieties of life, suffering alone always intensifies suffering. It's important to reach out to others. And of course, prayer. Prayer is here for us. God desires to travel with us and be by our sides through the muck and mire of life. So give prayer a try. It doesn't matter how polished or messy it is. Another idea is to consider using a mantra, a phrase that you either just repeat to yourself in your mind or say out loud. Something, the repetitive nature of it can help soothe your mind. An idea that I just thought of was just repeating the birds of the air and the lilies of the field. The birds of the air and the lilies of the field. Just a little reminder of God's goodness and God's companionship. And that is my prayer for you, that you will feel at ease, refreshed, and at peace in your soul. May it be so. Many blessings to you until I see you again.